Ahead of the 2026 midterms, 52 lawmakers have reportedly announced they are not running for re-election, the most in any election cycle since 2012. And the dramatic shift comes as Democrats look for a winning strategy to flip the House while Republicans try to hold their majority. Here to tell us why, Republican strategist Cassie Smedile. Cassie, great to have you back on the program. And look, most of the answers are I'm old, I'm retiring, or I want to spend time with family. And while to an extent those answers may be true, what's the real reason these people are getting out?
Good morning, Todd. Yes, I think it is important to underscore that retirements happen every cycle. But you're right. A lot of these folks come from productive lives, business backgrounds, veterans, and they come to Washington and are really shocked when they can't get anything done. And that gets frustrating after a while. And they say, maybe I can do more for my community, my country, back home, out of public life. So that's the mixed bag of it's time to go and also I need to go and do something else.
Yeah, there are also reports, Cassie, that people are disenchanted even more with just the bickering. Forget the not being able to get anything done. The fact that D.C. is so toxic and that draining the swamp is not something that can happen instantaneously. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I would take a slightly different tact on that. I think what they're frustrated with is that our government is so bloated. The way these bills that are now laws are made, Obamacare is a perfect example of this, is really complicated to undo because the lawmakers at the time did that on purpose because they wanted to keep their fingerprint on Washington long after they were gone. And so it can be frustrating that you go there thinking you're going to be able to do something, then you find out that it's much harder to do that. And so again, they say, well, I can go back to private life and get more done. Elon Musk is not in Congress, of course, but a perfect example of someone who thought through Doge he was going to be able to come and save us trillions of dollars. And he got close, several hundred billion, but a lot of it is tied up in really complicated regulations and statutes that make it tough to go in and do what you think should be a very easy task.
And now that he's back in the private sector, his private sector businesses are thriving. I mean, SpaceX could be valued at $1.5 trillion, which is a number that is just insane. So who's going to replace these folks? Democrats themselves are enlisting a group called the Hellcats to help get the majority back. These are 4 female Democrats with military backgrounds all running for Congress. And an article in Reuters says, quote, campaign strategists say the candidates' backgrounds could help them cross partisan divides and neutralize gender stereotypes that have sometimes dogged female candidates, proving toughness without sacrificing likability. That sounds like a really solid strategy for the Democrats. Should Republicans be concerned, Cassie?
Well, we'll see. One thing I want to note, some of these retirements, Marjorie Taylor Greene, for example, she won her seat by 30 points last cycle. So not every retirement is in a flip seat or a potential flip seat. But to the point of the Hellcats, I've noticed several of them do have pretty big primaries that they need to get through first. So we'll see who actually emerges through that. But one thing I think is most notable, Democrats think that they have found this silver bullet for themselves, and that is running look-alike Republican candidates. Abigail Spanberger out here in Virginia was just elected governor because she was this supposed moderate, former CIA. People have this sense of her that she's about duty and service and country, and yet her voting record right there with AOC's. So you have to, the devil is really in the details. Are they learning their lesson from running the woke crazies, the Mandamis, the AOCs that they realize cannot win out in real America? Or are they presenting a bunch of wolves in sheep's clothes? I tend to think it's the latter, and voters are going to have to be really smart about that when they go to the polls. But I also think it's interesting that Democrats realize to some extent, the party apparatus anyway, that running the far left woke candidates in districts across America, they know won't fly. And so they try and insert these folks that are, like I say, look-alike Republican candidates that harbor the traits that Republican voters typically like. For example, veterans.
Sure.
When in actuality, their policies are right there with AOC's. So it's something we got to keep a close eye on as voters.
Also got to keep a close eye on redistricting and whether or not Republicans put out quality candidates of their own. Cassie Smedile, Merry Christmas to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.